Okay, so this is going to be some details, just notes about the stator. I mean, this plate, you have to put this plate on first, okay? And the torque for that is 52 inch-pounds. Now, that plate, it is possible to put that plate on backwards, okay? Just know that the starter is on the right side and the wire comes out the right side when you're facing the motor with the coils like this. And this is cylinder number 1. So that's kind of how it goes. Intake manifold, these are intakes, okay? Now, I had to paint this. It was rusted pretty bad. Wasn't that big of a deal. I cleaned this up and I put some bow shield on it, and I'll show you what that is. That's bow shield right there. So it really wasn't in the best of condition when I took it apart. When I removed this blower assembly and flywheel, this stator and all this was completely packed, 100% packed with oil and dirt and just really in bad shape. So anyway, so that's the way that is there. So once you get that on, make sure that this output shaft is clean and it's ready for installation of the flywheel. I had to paint this flywheel. It was pretty rusty and pretty bad shape. So I didn't do a super duper paint job on it. I just got, 95% of it, because there's lots of parts that don't get paint on them, and it's not assembly compatible to have paint on some of these surfaces. So I taped off the bolt surface and this here. On the other side, you don't get paint in the center and things if you plan to do stuff like that. So the flywheel nut torque is 41, and what I did is I just got some vice grips, and I just put some vice grips right here like this and tightened this up to 41. It wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, so alright, so the next step after you get all this done is you're going to install the coils. I'm going to talk about the head next though, because that's how I did it, because I put the heads on before the flywheel because I had painted the flywheel and had to wait. So the heads, which this is cylinder head number 1, you install them without the push rods and of course without the spark plug. You do it in 3 steps: 9.5 foot-pounds, 15 foot-pounds, and 19 foot-pounds. Okay, 3 steps. Okay, now I have a paper. Where's my cheat sheet at? Alright, so that's the cheat sheet. Okay, you're going to tighten the bolts in that order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty simple, cross pattern. And I've got them numbered with a Sharpie there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's not that big of a deal. Just these are aluminum heads. This is a very light torque. Just make sure you take your time and do that kind of stuff carefully and lightly. Now, when you install this coil, I recommend to have the flywheel turned a little bit so that you install this as far away as possible in its adjustment, because it's magnetized. It wants to jam itself down. So just put it on there as far away from there as possible first, and I'll get you the specification for that in just a moment. Okay, so the specification for the air gap is 8 to 16. The coil mounting bolt is 52 inch-pounds, and basically you're gonna, and the directions tell you to use a 12 thousandths. So that's kind of what you do, is you put it together with 12 thousandths. But you're going to measure in between this pad here and the face of this right here. Okay, that's where you're going to put your feeler gauge. Going to put it on there according to the instructions. Push this down on it to close the gap, and with light pressure while you're pushing on it, tighten up the bolt. So that's how you do that. Okay, so I got this set up for a demo. So you want to center this up on there. I've got my 12 thousandths feeler gauge, old Cornwell, and this feeler gauge is probably older than me. So let's see here. I want to put that in there, and then we're going to loosen it up a little bit. Press it down against it. Tighten it up to 52. And I'll double check those in a minute. Alright, so that's that one. Let's get this other one done here. Loosen it, press down. Kind of takes multiple fingers. There we go. So we're gonna double check, triple check, all that kind of good business. This one here feels a little slight. Might need a little music added to it. Just want to have a slight drag. Torque that thing. 2. Check this one. There we go. So there's the demo on torquing that.